Hey guys, yeah, just wanted to share this with you. I bought 3 breach stones yesterday. I just bought them because I didn't feel like farming, 5,000 breach splinters. I just bought 3 breach stones so I could run tier 2, tier 3, and tier 4 Xhest, just to do some damage testing for you guys, and for myself, just so I was curious. And I got this advice from someone who commented on one of the videos like a week ago or something, and he was talking about this helmet called the Deepest Tower. So I picked up that helmet and I ran some damage tests on tier 2 and tier 3 Xhest, and then I took the helmet off for tier 4, just ran it the same way it was. The helmet's this Deepest Tower Spiritborn crown, and it says enemies in your presence count as being on low life. So everything on in your presence is on low life, and it reduces your presence radius effect. So basically everything that's standing right next to you is on low life. And then I just socketed one of these area of effect jewels in it just to make the presence radius just a little bit bigger. And then I just made a couple of changes to the skill tree for this. And again, this is just for Pinnacle bosses. Like, this is just for like tier 3, tier 4 Pinnacle bosses. I wouldn't bother with any of this unless you're doing that, right? So pretty much ignore this, leave this video, don't even watch it because it's just going to confuse you. So what I did, so I could wear this helmet on my second weapon set. So this was for my boss damage weapon set, and this allowed me to keep my tree the same. I pathed down here because the helmet needs int. So when I was pathing down there, I took intelligence on these points, right? So I just needed enough int. And then I grabbed this little cluster of nodes right here. So I just grabbed these 4 nodes of int just so I'd have enough intelligence to wear the helmet. And then I picked up this node which says 120% increased damage against enemies that are on low life. And right, everything in your presence is on low life. And then I did the same thing here. This is again another second weapon set split. And I grabbed all these up here. This is all cluster. That's all enemies on low life take more damage, right? So this helmet's just kind of like a Pinnacle boss tech. I wouldn't even bother with it for mapping. I don't think it's worth it. I dropped all the other points that were on my second weapon sets for this. So all these points that used to be green for single target boss damage, I just respect them to this here. And again, this is just for Pinnacle bosses. Like, you're never going to use this unless you get to like tier 3 or tier 4 Pinnacle bosses. You should never need this. Because I was able to do tier 1s and tier 2s with 0 effort with just cheap stuff. So these are the 2 clusters you have to path to. This is the most efficient way to path to them. So you just start here, and I pathed up this jewel socket. You have to path up with both sets to get to the jewel socket, and then you can switch to your second set. So I just dropped these 3 nodes right here just so I could spend 3 points to path up to that jewel socket. And then I used the second weapon set to path up and grab all of those. So up to the jewel socket is on both weapon sets, and I dropped all of these. So I'll go through this twice just so you guys get a good look at it and you understand it. But yeah, I dropped everything that was green and just put all my green nodes to path to those 2 clusters that are for enemies on low life, just for damage, right? And again, you won't need this for tier 1 and tier 2 Pinnacle bosses. You'll be able to kill them just fine, even if you have like medium decent stuff. So that's why I set that up. So on tier 2 Xhest, I used this. And even with cheap hammers, I was getting around 2 million on perfect strikes. So this is perfectly fine tech. Tier 2 Xhest was really easy with this. So, and you can tell I'm wearing the helmet because I got this dumb helmet on. And tier 3 felt pretty easy with this too. Now for tier 4, I took this helmet off because I wanted to test the damage on the build without it, with just the way that it was before. So I did tier 4 Xhest with the old build from my old video that I posted the other day for part 4. I didn't change anything in this one, and I was still able to do tier 4 Xhest with no problems. So even without the helmet isn't even necessary. It's just Pinnacle tech if you want to use it, because I didn't need it at all. It's just good to have if you just want to make the bosses easier. You don't have to have it. I bought it for like 3 divines. I'll probably just give it away to someone if someone wants it. I was just testing it out. I just wanted to see how it worked. But that was how I set up the skill tree so that I could utilize it. The point of setting up the skill tree this way was that I could still keep all my other points for clearing the same way they were before. I still have all my weapon set 1 points, haven't changed between before and now. But I changed my second weapon set for boss damage. So I just dropped all my boss damage nodes so that I could path down to the low life nodes. So if you want to use this tech for high level Pinnacle bosses, you can. But again, you don't need it. Like, I did this with 2 cheap hammers and I was still able to kill tier 4 Xhest without this helmet and without using any of this. So again, you don't need this, but you can use it if you want to. And I'll go over a bunch of other stuff you can do to increase your damage. Like, this stuff is all optional. Like, I was able to do a tier 4 Xhest without any of it, and I'm sure you will be able to. And my hammers are cheap. Like, my one hammer on my second set's like a 1 divine hammer. My other one's like a 20 exalted hammer. So it's not like I'm using like mirror tier items. Like this it wasn't hard to do, even without any of this stuff. But if you want to run it, this is the nodes you'd take. So I'm just showing you which nodes those are and showing you how to path to them without bricking your tree, because I did some experimentation with this. Shout out to the guy who ran Trials of Chaos with me. I was experimenting with this in Trials of Chaos. So it was a bit of suffering when I was like testing things out and figuring out how to make it work. But I figured out how to make it work, and it definitely does help. You can probably double your damage with this setup for Pinnacle bosses, and you don't have to brick your tree if you set it up this way. So you can leave your primary weapon set tree exactly the same and still have really good clear, and then just switch to this helmet when you get to the boss. You just put this helmet on, take your other helmet off, switch to weapon set 2, and then boom. But how you path to it is just path to the jewel socket, split to weapon set 2, drop the 3 points from here if you want to drop those points, or from wherever, path to the jewel socket, weapon set 2 to get up top here. Once you're up there, you got access to all those nodes, and then same thing over here. So just make sure you have enough int on your second weapon set to run the helmet, because it requires a bit of intelligence. And I just dropped all those weapon set nodes from before. So if you went back and you'd seen the other ones, you'd see where those weapon set nodes were. But this is just Pinnacle tech. Again, I don't think you need this at all. If you want to use it, you can. You probably, I mean, like I said, you don't need it. I tested it on tier 4 Xhest without using any of that, and I was able to kill him just fine. It was a little harder. Tier 2, I used it, and you can see the damage was healthy. It worked totally fine. You know, I was getting, you know, between 1 million and 2 million on the perfect strikes. So, and again, with cheap stuff. And again, I used it on tier 3, and it was fine there as well. There's a bunch of other things you can do to increase your damage on Pinnacles that I didn't even bother to do in this video. And I'll go through that just so you know how to utilize that stuff. But I'm kind of lazy, so I don't like to set it all up. But again, this was tier 4, and you can see I'm not wearing the stupid helmet. I just dropped it, and I just managed to kill tier 4 Xhest, no problem, with just the same old build that I've been running the whole time. The same cheap hammers. So, yeah. That's pretty much it. I'll take you through the rest of it and show you kind of how it works and what you can do if you really want to stack damage for really, really high perfect strikes. Okay, so I'll take you through how you scale maximum damage for Pinnacle bosses. If you really want to do this, again, none of this is necessary, but if you want to do this, this is how you would do it. So I will show you how to do it. The first thing is you can get one of these Prism of Beliefs jewels. So a Prism of Belief jewel just increases your level of certain skills, and these all come with different skills, and you can just socket these into your tree wherever, right? So you can slap these in a tree, and then the level of the corresponding skill will increase, right? And when the level of the corresponding skill increases, the damage increases for said skill, obviously, right? Because the higher level your skill gem is, it's the same reason you stack melee skills on your maces, right? Because more melee skills equals more damage for all your skills, because it says level 29, right? So the more skills you have on your hammers, the higher level your perfect strike is, the more your damage multiplies. So you can buy one of these. I didn't use this. I just bought this for the sake of this video, just so you guys can see what it looks like. Someone can have this if they want it. I just bought it so you could actually see one. You know what one looks like. Now you know what, if you want to get one, you know what to get one. And again, all the stuff I'm talking about this video, you don't need any of it. I did tier 4 Xhest without any of this stuff. I'm just telling you what it is and how it works in case you want to use it. But this is how you would use it if you want to use it. The second thing obviously is just all melee skills. That's why you want hammers that are like +7s. Now I did that Xhest with just these hammers, and this one's just a +5, this one's just a +4. These hammers are cheap. I bought this one for like 20 exalts, and I bought this one for like 1 divine. So these hammers are cheap. They're nothing crazy. I don't farm all day, and I don't RMT stuff, and I don't play the market stock exchange game to get rich in this game. I don't have time for that. I just want to play the game for fun. So yeah, I just these are just cheap hammers. They're whatever. Work totally fine. Killed tier 4 Xhest with them. I didn't have to change anything around on the build. But I just wanted to show you guys, if you want to scale your damage to like ridiculous levels, this is how you do it. You can get +2 perfect strike skills on your Prism of Belief. You can get +2 on your gloves. So like this gloves, for example, they only have a +1 to all melee skills. You can get gloves with +2. So if you wanted like optimal pinnacle boss gloves, you could buy +2 to all melee skills gloves and then just get gloves with big flat damage rolls, right? Because if you've got big flat damage rolls on your gloves +2 all melee skills, you're going to do a lot more damage, right? Because you're just adding a lot of damage. So because you're just between these two things, like these go up to +3, by the way. You can get a Prism of Belief that's +3. This one's just a +2. I just bought it for the sake of the video so you guys could see it. I didn't want to buy a +1 because if I gave it to someone, a +1's kind of useless and crappy. So I bought a +2 so at least someone would have a good one. But you can buy like +3s for like 5 divines or something. I don't know. I don't remember what they were. And then you can get 2 levels on your gloves. And you can also get level melee skills on your amulet. You can get up to +3 on your amulet. And I know what you're thinking. Well, aren't we supposed to be wearing this amulet? Yes, this amulet is better. But if you're doing a pinnacle boss, you can buy one of these amulets with a +3 spirit, strength, intelligence. And you'd obviously want better stats. I just bought this one for the sake of the video so you could see what it is. And the reason you want melee skills, strength, and intelligence and spirit. Now we're going to get really deep in the weeds here because this is really complicated stuff. And again, if you're not in super late game and you don't have a really good understanding of the mechanics of the game, I would recommend you don't watch this video. Like just shut it off, don't watch it. It's going to be very confusing. And a lot of this stuff is stuff you do not need. I will reiterate that like 100 times. None of this is necessary. This is just if you're interested in making like insane scaling damage in your late game, right? So you'd buy one of these amulets with +3 melee skills, strength, intelligence, spirit, and maybe like some armor, like whatever, max life, you know, whatever else you want on it, right? And it's probably going to cost you like a divine. But anyways, if you buy one of those amulets with that setup, you're going to lose your fire exposure, right? But that's fine. You don't need a fire exposure for a pinnacle boss because you're already using fire exposure and strip away on your solar orb. So you're getting more fire exposure and strip away from the solar orb here. And then you have your Font of Rage on it, obviously, too. So you don't need the fire exposure from your Zoph's Blood because you'll have fire exposure plus strip away on your solar orb. And that's more fire exposure than you get from your Zoph's Blood. You're only getting 20% from your Zoph's. You're going to get about 25 from this. So you're getting more exposure from this anyway, right? And you can just carry one of these around with you in your inventory. And before you do a pinnacle boss, you can just swap it, right? And then there's the next piece of tech you utilize when you do this. You use Blasphemy, right? So you use Blasphemy, and the reason you use Blasphemy creates an aura around your character. See this little aura? That's a curse aura, right? So curses are part of like the witch skill tree, right? So you can socket a curse into Blasphemy, and Blasphemy turns it into an aura. And then you can add ritualistic and heightened curse to make the curse stronger. And the curse will just be on all the time. Everywhere you go, you'll be cursing enemies with this curse, right? And this curse is flammability. So it reduces enemies' fire resistance, right? And because you're doing all fire damage, you want to lower their fire resistance as much as possible. So you're going to reduce their fire resistance by 25% by just being in your presence with this on, and you don't have to cast anything. You could cast it manually if you want, but casting it's just annoying. So I prefer to do it this way. And then you get your fire exposure from your solar orb. So you're going to get 50% reduced fire on the boss exposure wise with your solar orb, and then you're going to get you're going to get 25 from your solar orb and fire exposure, and you're going to get 25 minus resistance on your Blasphemy. Now exposure again is different than resistance. Exposure takes them into negative res. This just lowers their overall resistance, right? Oh, sorry, one of you guys are messaging me. Anyways, shout out to that guy, he's cool. So this is the tech you would run like Pinnacle if you really wanted to get crazy. And again, you don't need any of this. I know this is complicated. So this is how you'd set that up, right? You just stack all your skills. You get a bunch of melee skills on your amulet. You get Solar Orb Blasphemy combo going. You don't need your Zoph's Blood for this, so you drop it, right? And then you can also run this helmet if you want to get really crazy, right? This helmet is just like it's just, again, more damage, right? And I showed you on the skill tree how you set that up. Now I respec my skill tree back to normal. I'm not using that skill tree anymore. I'm just went back to what I was using before. I just like how it feels. So I'm just still using that. And I don't feel like I need it, so I'm just not using it. I'll probably just give this to someone. They can have it if they want to use it and they're doing Pinnacle bosses. But the setup you use with this helmet is that, like I just showed you earlier in the video, and then you add Execute, right? Because Execute deals more damage to hits that are enemies on low life. And you just swap in that on your Perfect Strike, right? So your Perfect Strike would look something like this, you know? if you really want to stack your damage to like crazy levels, it would look like this: window of opportunity, concentrated effect, primal armor, fire fusion, and execute, right? So you'd stack all of those in your perfect strike. And again, you don't need any of this. I will reiterate that for like the 50th time. This is just for the people who are like crazy and you're super deep in late game and you got a bunch of currency to waste and you just want to see how far you can push your perfect strike. Like, I didn't bother to do any of this. I'm not really interested in doing it. You know, I've killed the boss. I'm fine. I'm happy. So yeah, you can run all of that, right? This helmet is strong if you set it up that way, and it does work really well. But that is pretty much how you set up everything if you wanted to get really crazy with Pinnacle bosses. You could stack more skills here, add skills on your gloves, use this helmet, add that execute onto your perfect strike, swap your amulet to a +3 melee skills, swap your gloves to a +2 melee skills. Like, I didn't bother to do any of that, but you can utilize it if you want to. Get 2 +7 hammers. Like, if you have 2 +7 hammers, like if you do all of this, like, your perfect strike level is going to be insane, right? Because if you have a level 20 perfect strike, you know, you're going level 22, level 24, right? Plus you're adding 14 levels on both your hammers and you're getting 3 on your amulet. Like, you're going to have like a super high level perfect strike, right? So that's going to like give you crazy damage. So if you want to do that, you can. And then you just set up this curse setup, right? With the blasphemy, with the flammability, and the solar orb with the strip away. So I didn't bother to do any of this, but I'm just showing you guys how it works in case you want to do it. So if you're deep in late game and you have nothing better to do and you just want to try it out, this is how you'd set it up. You would use all of this stuff, right? So that's how all that's set up. And I'll probably do a thing. I still haven't had time to get to this path of building stuff. This video wouldn't have been good for that anyway, because you wouldn't be able to, I don't think you'd be able to import that because I already changed it all anyway. So you wouldn't even be able to see it on Mobalytics or whatever, at least to my understanding. I don't know. I don't quite understand how it works. I'll try and figure it out. But yeah, I don't need this Prism of Belief, so just let me know if you want it. I'll probably get rid of this this helm too. We'll see what happens. I'm probably going to get rid of that also. I found another one of these Zoph's Blood amulets, so if you guys want it, just let me know. If you want this amulet too, you can have it. I just bought it for the sake of this video so you guys could understand what you need. The reason you want intelligence on the amulet is because you might not have enough intelligence to run Blasphemy otherwise, because Blasphemy requires 72 int, right? So you're going to need 72 int because you need enough just to run the curse skill, right? And you do need a little bit of int for that. So that's why I would recommend, unless you already have int on your character, you're going to need int. So if you buy one of these amulets, make sure it's got spirit. 3, like, if you really wanted to go crazy, you'd want one that was like max life, spirit, 3 to all melee skills, strength, intelligence, right? Like, that would be kind of like the ideal role if you really wanted to get crazy with it. And then you just anoint something with big damage on it, so you'd have even more damage. But yeah, that's how you'd set all that up. I'll stick a question thread pinned below this video, so if you guys have questions that you're curious and you want me to answer, I will just try and answer them in a future video. And you can kind of just like add all your questions to that thread and I will just try and get to them. And there's no such thing as a stupid question, only a stupid answer. So if you ask me a question and I give you a stupid answer, it's on me. Like, the question's not stupid, right? My answer would be stupid. So there's no such thing as a stupid question. And like, maybe other people can help you in that comment thread too. And then I'm also going to stick a Discord link in the comments too, because some people said they were like having problems, and like, I can't guarantee I'll be able to like check everyone's builds or like analyze what you're doing wrong. But like, if I have some time and I'm just like sitting in the car with my wife and she's driving, like, I will maybe check Discord and see if like there's a way I can help you with whatever's not working. But I just can't guarantee it because like, I've only got so much time in the day, right? But I just wanted to show you guys how all this works in case you have any people that are really crazy and they just really want to scale their damage to like ridiculous levels. Like, I'm not really interested in doing any of this. I just know how it works. So I thought you guys might want to know how it works too. But yeah, that's pretty much it. If you guys have questions, I'll try and pin that question thread and I'll try and get that Discord link there for you. But I'll see you guys on the next one. Cheers.